Hey guys, Megan here. I hope you all are having a great day today. So, after I posted my first video regarding my incident in Miami where I went on a date with a guy and it just was a little traumatic. It went, another way than I anticipated. I really wanted to make this video to dive a little bit deeper into what exactly happened, like specifically kind of just more details, like just, how did I meet this guy? What were the red flags? Because a lot of your responses, number one, first and foremost, thank you so much for being so positive regarding that video because it was not easy for me to open up about that. And I'm already such an open book with you guys, but I don't really talk about my personal life on here a lot. I try to keep it, very just mental health, advice, living your best life kind of a vibe. And so for me, it's just really important that I pride myself on just being, that person. And for me, I've never experienced that in my dating life and my romantic I've just never had that happen ever. So I did bring some toilet paper, not Kleenex, just in case, if I start crying or something, not anticipating that, but it's, it's still a trauma in my mind. As many of you know, I moved from Nashville to Miami about, I would say August 1st. So, it's almost November. So it's been August, September, October. I would say 2.5 months, almost 3 months of being in Miami. And I love it here. Miami is such an awesome city. The energy is contagious. I just love everything about it. And I've had wonderful experiences here. I've met incredible people. And I will say, as many of you know, if you've met me in person, but also, this is how I am in real life. It's not just an internet, persona. I really am outgoing and bubbly and extrovert. So for me, moving to this new city, I was I knew a few people coming here, but I'm okay, I really want to just find like-minded people. And as an adult, I think a lot of us can relate. That can be kind of hard. Moving to a new city, making friends as an adult sometimes can just be a weird topic. I don't know if anyone else feels the same way, not to be negative, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's interesting. So I joined this runners group online. I will not say the website which I joined it because it's not their fault. It is, my responsibility. But I joined a runners group, meaning every Sunday there's a group of 15 to 20 adults who like running, fitness, being athletic. They love doing that on Sundays and meeting up in downtown Miami, and all that stuff. So I joined that group and they were hey, we're meeting at this time, this, shopping center where your workout clothes, we're going to go run 10 to 12 miles just around downtown Miami with a group of people. It's safe. We're meeting at daylight. It's in public. And I'm okay, cool. Awesome. I'm not concerned in the slightest. And, it's weird because when I signed up for it the day of, I had no bad gut feeling. And I've talked about this before with you guys, but I really listened to my intuition. And I had no bad, I call it an inkling in my ankle as a joke. But I had no inkling in my ankle. I had zero bad feelings about it. So I'm okay, it's gonna go. And I made sure I was safe. I took an Uber. I told my friends where I was going. I take it very seriously, just my well-being. So, I showed up. There was a lot of people. It was fun. I started talking with people and I met this guy, and him and I think I complimented his shorts. They kind of look like they're from the 80s, funny, bright colors. And he's thank you so much. And we just hit it off right off the bat. We started talking, we just were vibing and complimenting each other, and just from meeting someone for the first time. Physically, He was super cute. He was like tall, totally my type, athletic, just super great smile, really warm energy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's so cool. You know, how lucky am I? It's like my second day here in Miami. This is so cool right off the bat in a new city. And so I remember, you know, meeting him, we hit it off. And then basically, you know, throughout the whole entire runners group, him and I were just running side by side, just talking and catching up and, you know, just telling each other about ourselves. And he was so cool, like such a good listener. And I'm like, man, this guy's like my soulmate or something. And so, you know, just kept on going really well. And then towards the end of the day, he asked me for my phone number, and I still had no bad gut feelings. And I'm being 100% transparent with you guys. I was like, this guy seems cool. I would love to get to know him. And then basically I gave him my number, and then a week later he asked me to go get dinner. And I was like, okay, cool. I picked the spot. He allowed me to pick it. Once again, no red flags. And, you know, we went to this place in public. It was like a steakhouse, and it was awesome. And I still had no bad feelings about it. And then, you know, we're having dinner. He's super nice. He's asking questions about me, you know, everything on a first date that you would want. And then basically, I will say towards the end of the dinner, and this is on like a Friday night at like 7 p.m. Towards the end of the dinner, you know, we're like just talking, and then the inkling in my ankle, like if you guys have ever had those moments where you get that like wave over you that like something really weird is about to happen. And like, I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Maybe it's like before you get in a car crash, before an earthquake happens, like you just get that kind of premonition, sixth sense, like something really bad is about to happen. So we were talking, and I was like looking at him, and then this wave like came over me, and I was like, holy, you know, like, oh my gosh, something really weird is about to happen. And I was like, you know, looking around, and I'm like, there's no real danger here because we're in a restaurant, there's other people here, we're in an outdoor mall, you know, like I'm like, you know, it's not like, I don't know, I'm in public, I'm not drinking alcohol, like you know, I feel fine. And so I got that feeling though, that knot in my stomach just to leave, get out, something weird's about to happen. And there's only been one other time in my life that feeling has come up, and it was before something like happened when I was younger, a really bad car crash when I was little. And so that feeling for me, I don't know if it's like my guardian angels or something, but I just call it like inkling in my ankle, where it's that indescribable, just like wave of, you know, I felt so calm. And on the date with this guy, everything went in super slow motion. Like I got that feeling, and then I looked back up at him, and it's as if like, it was so weird though, because you know that in that feeling, you're like, oh my God, like you want to start freaking out and overreacting, but I just felt so calm. Like it was so odd. I just was like, I should probably take an Uber home. I just felt that. And I'm like, but everything was going in such slow motion. So I just like, you know, looked down at my phone under the table because I didn't really want to be rude. I just ordered an Uber, and he was already paying for the check, like literally as I was doing it. I just kind of grabbed my purse and put it on my lap, and I looked back up at him, and he's like, this was so cool. Like, do you want to come back to my house? And I'm just like, you know, honestly, no. I'm sorry. No, like I had fun with you, but just, you know, trying to be polite. He's like, okay, like, are you sure? And I'm like, no, it's okay. And it's weird because I felt so calm, yet I had this persistent feeling in my gut to just like get out, like just leave, like the restaurant, like something weird is gonna happen. And I'm just like, what the heck? But I trust this feeling. So, you know, I grab my stuff, and then I'm like, hey, you know, I'm kind of feeling tired. I'm gonna order an Uber. Like, this was so much fun. I had a great time with you, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, okay, for sure. And then so I just ordered the Uber, kind of gave him a half hug. And then I just, you know, like left the restaurant, and my Uber, thank the universe, was like 2 blocks away. And so, you know, I'm just literally like looking for the Toyota Prius. Aren't they always Toyota Priuses? Like, and then I'm like looking for it. And this is the part, saying this part oh, makes me cringe. Like I get goosebumps and I just feel so, I've like talking about it, I can feel my heart start to pick up and it's so uncomfortable. If you guys can see, it's real. Like, so I was waiting for my Uber and I was just looking at my phone, you know, just like scrolling, going on Instagram and stuff. And then have you guys ever had the feeling where you can feel like someone is literally right behind you? Like just, you're like, you like your hairs on the back of your neck stick up and you're just like, So for me, I was looking down at my phone and I just all of a sudden, and I physically actually felt I had that feeling someone's behind me, but then I also physically felt someone breathing on my neck and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, I literally like felt like a cat, like jumping out of a pool or something. I was like, whoa, because I just felt someone breathing and I'm like, oh, that's too close. And I turn around, like, you know, about to kind of defend myself. Like I have my hand, like my elbow, because I'm like, do I need to hit someone? And thankfully I always have pepper spray on me and stuff. And I turn around, you guys, and it's this guy. It's the guy that I went on the date with. He was, I'm not kidding, like this close. And I was like, whoa, what the, and I seriously straight up, pardon my language, but I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And I like flipped out and I'm just backing up. And it was so scary, you guys. Like my heart, I literally was like I felt like I was in a horror movie. And thankfully though, still everything was going in slow motion and my Uber was already like there. But it's like weird because when I looked at him after, I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like you guys, it was as if I was looking at a different person. Like the guy on the date was one guy, super nice, charming, you know, Mr. Whatever. And then this guy, it's like as if a demon had possessed, like his eyes were just gone. Like he literally was like, just, it was so scary, you guys. Like and thankfully I've done a lot of therapy and EMDR, which is helpful for traumatic events. So talking about it, I actually don't remember anything, which is crazy. And that's the beautiful benefit of EMDR. I have no memory of what he looks like at all. I just remember tiny bits of the date, which is helpful. That's how I, you know, like no human needs to remember the like hard parts. But yeah, so you guys, I literally, you know, just literally was like, what the fuck? And his eyes, he just, the way he would, like his head was turned to the side and he's just staring at me, like huge eyes. And he's like, so wait, tell me more about your modeling career. And I'm like, what? Like, what the fuck? And I'm literally backing up into my Uber and I'm like opening the door and this guy's like following me and I'm like, oh my God, like, what the hell? This guy's gonna pull a gun on me or something. And then this is the part where it's so super embarrassing and really caught me off guard. So he literally just like looks at me and I'm like not responding. I'm like, I'm getting in my Uber. And he's literally just like starts screaming at the top of his lungs. And I'm not kidding you guys, like not like, hey, what's up? And he's still close to me, but I'm trying to keep a distance to be safe. And I'm like, back up, dude, back up. Stop getting close to me because I will kick you in your nutsack. Like, do not push me. And he's not respecting my space either. And so, you know, he looks at me and then he starts screaming at the top of his lungs, bloody murder, like starts screaming, you're a whore, like the word whore, like a slut. He starts screaming that, screaming. Like it was the scariest thing. I was like, what the fuck? And I just got in my Uber. I was so startled. I literally was like shaking like this in my Uber and I'm like, oh my God. And my Uber driver was like, are you okay? Is this your boyfriend? I'm like, no, just drive. And everyone, because it's an outdoor mall, is like staring and turning and they're like, what the fuck? And like, this guy was just having an episode. I have no idea what was wrong with him. Once again, this is just my first date with him. So I was like, what is wrong? But you guys, like, that was literally the scariest like thing I've ever been through. Thankfully, like certain things happened, so I'm still okay. I got in my Uber, like the timing of everything. still I have chills talking about it. It's like, I feel like God, universe was for sure on my side. And I got in my Uber, and then as my Uber in the Toyota Prius was driving away, I do not recommend this, but I did this. I rolled down my window, and the guy was still screaming by himself, like at no one, because I was gone at that point. I rolled down my Uber driver. I don't recommend this, but this is just what I did because I'm a Scorpio. I don't know. I rolled down my window and I looked back at him and I was like, I was like, screw you. And I just flipped him off because I was just upset. You know, as a female, that's never happened to me. I've never, thankfully, knock on everything, I've never been on a date. I'm 25, but I've never been on a date where I've been verbally attacked or sexually assaulted or anything. So that was a very new experience to me. And I really just want to like make this video to explain more what happened, because I feel like that first video, I was like, I didn't really know how to go about it. But you guys, I will say after that date, about a week after, I, was like, oh, I feel like, I mean, that night when I got home, I was still in shock, but I was like, oh, I'll be fine, whatever. Like, I'll just go to bed and, I can, like calm myself down, and my apartment's safe and there's a secure, like, I felt fine. And then, like, I would say a week later, I started having nightmares, and the nightmares would happen. And this is just me being honest with you guys. If you find this video triggering, that is not my intention. I just was asked a lot by all of you guys to go into more detail about specifically what happened and like how I met the guy, why it went that way, and then also the mental health aspect, meaning, I had to go into therapy and I had to do EMDR, which is really helpful for people who have been in traumatic experiences. A lot of people, when they go to war, they do EMDR. If you have PTSD, it really helps with rewiring your brain, and it sort of desensitizes you to the point where you can talk about the trauma, but your mind does not revisit it. So you're very detached from the event, which is helpful because it helps your brain move forward rather than like, it's really, really cool. And so basically, that night I was fine. I went home, like went to bed. And then a week after, I was literally I started having nightmares, and the nightmares would happen where I would, go to bed, and then my dream, I would be, it was so weird because the nightmares were the same thing. And that's something I learned in therapy where, like these nightmares, it's basically memories that are stored in your subconscious that are unhealed. And so we have our conscious mind, but we also have our subconscious. And in our subconscious, it's memories from our childhood. Everything that shapes us into us gets stored in our subconscious, which is really cool. And so for me, this trauma, a lot of PTSD is basically traumatic memories that are stored in your subconscious that are unhealed. And so whether you are a veteran returning from war, or you saw someone die, or you were raped, I mean, there's a spectrum. I think there's severe, or more mild. I would say mine was a little more mild in my opinion, but once again, I'm not an expert. I'm not trying to judge. This is just me and my own experience. Take it with a grain of salt. And so for me, I started having nightmares where I would go to bed and then I would like wake up and the dream was like the same thing over and over again, all these nights. It was the same beginning, same everything. And then each time it was like me trying to escape the date before that happened, like trying to get out, or, it's like my mind was trying to just solve this like puzzle. I don't know, just really fascinating things. And obviously as a mental health advocate and as someone who I've had years of therapy since I was 14 years old, I know my mind so well that I knew what was going on, which is totally in my benefit. So once the nightmares started happening, and they were not, like sleep paralysis or anything really intense, it was just nightmares. And I would wake up at like 3 a.m. and, be like, oh my gosh, there's someone in my apartment. And then I would like go back to sleep. But it's like, it's really, really helpful for me to kind of break it down. And then, so I immediately, got a therapist, and that was really helpful. I found one in Miami. She's an EMDR specialist. And so for those of you guys that do not know what EMDR is, it basically stands for eye movement desensitization. So basically, It kind of, if you're a beginner, it looks on the outside in like a form of hypnotherapy where you are watching a screen and it looks like a video game. There's two, like, let's say there's a yellow ball here. There's a yellow ball here. You're watching the yellow balls go back and forth, and you're following it with your eyes the entire time. And basically you're with a therapist in a room. And the more that you're doing that, it actually balances the right and the left hemisphere of your brain. It balances it. So, you know, I don't know if it's off the top of my head. One hemisphere of our brain is more creative, you know, imagination. The other is more analytical, all that stuff. And then the inner cortex controls, you know, breathing, heart regulation, all the basic bodily functions. So for me, you know, I would do this EMDR. I would watch the ball go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then my therapist would be sitting on the couch next to me, and she would start asking me, Megan, like, can you recall the trauma? What day was it? What were you wearing? What did it? And it's cool though, because I mean, the first time I started crying halfway through, I'm like, I can't talk about this. It's just too real. And my body was like, felt very triggered, but I noticed that, you know, as I did more EMDR sessions, it just, like, my mind, I could talk more and more about it. But like my mind, it's so weird, you guys, like my mind, you know, didn't go back to the event. It's like I could talk about it as if I were, you know, watching a movie. Like, it's not me, it's like a character. Like, it was so separate from me as a person. And so I just literally, like, it was just so powerful. EMDR literally helped me navigate that, and I highly recommend it to you guys. If you are not available to access an EMDR specialist, I really recommend finding on YouTube. There are self-administered videos that you can watch at home, and you just see the yellow ball going, and you follow it with your eyes. But yeah, you guys, seriously, that changed my life. And I'm really, really grateful that I, you know, financially and also have the resources. But yeah, so that was like August 2nd, and it's been a minute. I did therapy for about a month, which really, really helped. And since then, a little update, I've been on dates. I've, you know, been living a healthy life. I haven't let this slow me down in any way. But I really wanted to make this video because, number one, I love being real with you guys. You all are my favorite. But I also, you know, I think it's important just to, like, you know, share the wisdom. And a lot of you guys had asked specifically, you know, what happened. And I'm a really open book. And to me, it's like, if I can help anyone else, whether you're a guy or a girl, if you've been in this situation where you've been verbally abused or harassed or sexually abused or raped or molested, like, I don't know, but I really hope that this video can just help in some way. And, you know, that date was something that was unexpected. One thing I did learn in therapy that really has helped me as a female is to not blame myself, because I think as women, some men can do this, but typically as women, I think that we tend to blame ourselves or guilt ourselves, and we go back and forth. And something called, what's it called? Past thinking, I don't know. So there's a word, you guys, where it's like your mind is in the past and you keep on thinking and replaying things over and over again. And, like, you know, just thinking what could have happened, what should have happened. And I don't know, like, there's literally a word for it and my mind is totally blanking. But I'll leave it in the comments below. It starts with an R. It's like oh my God, I can't think of it. Weird. But yeah, so basically, you know, it was really, really helpful for me to, like, not do that to myself. I think, like I said, as women, we tend to, you know, guilt ourselves and be like, oh, if I hadn't been wearing that outfit, or, oh, if I hadn't been looking so happy. It's like, my therapist taught me, it's like, number one, to be in the past and to think about things in the past is unhealthy. But number two, you can't blame yourself for someone else hurting you. You know what I mean? Like, for me, it's like, it would be pretty counterproductive to beat myself up and be like, oh, you shouldn't be so outgoing and bubbly and, you know, like, looking for love. It's like, what? That makes no sense. First of all, you know, I'm empowered enough like to know that this guy has issues, and I've done enough therapy throughout my entire life to know that what other people do is more of a projection of their reality. So this guy clearly, I mean, this is without judgment, I'm not an expert, but in therapy, this is what I learned. You know, I think that guy, you just like, you want to wish him the best. And my heart goes out to people who just are in pain. It's like, you know, don't hurt other people. Like get help yourself. You know, I think it's just a messed up thing. I don't know. You know, it's like, it's just so, and I'm very grateful that I am still alive and okay today, because, you know, if I hadn't like pushed to go to a restaurant in public and he had been like, oh, come to my house, it's like, it could have been a lot different. And I'm very, very grateful that I'm still alive and that I'm able to, like, you know, spread the knowledge with you guys. If you or someone that you know has ever been in a situation, number one, you're not alone. A lot of people encounter stuff like just the variety of like PTSD and traumas and stuff. But I really recommend EMDR, you guys, whether you do it on YouTube or have a therapist or a specialist. It's really helpful for recovering from traumas and moving forward with your life. But I also, you know, I just wanted to make this video because I love you all like my own family, and you guys have been there for me. And so, I don't know. I love you guys. You guys are always so positive and kind to me. So yes, so that is the story of what happened on that date. And you know, still I don't hold any, should I just keep it at that? That's what happened on the date. So that's what happened on the date, you guys. You know, I don't hold any, I don't know. I just like to spread positivity to people. I like to wish people well. I don't like to, you know, harbor onto anything like gnarly. That's just not me. So, yeah, I love you guys, and I hope that you can take away some helpful knowledge from that video. But with that being said, I'll see you guys later, and I love you all. Bye.